I need a workbench. I need it to be used as an outfeed table for my router table and table saw. I also need it because I need a proper work surface when I build other things. And that's what I'll be doing in this series of videos. This is my first video on my YouTube channel, Wombat Workshop. Now, the requirements for my workbench is fairly simple. It needs to be brick outhouse strong. It needs to be the same height as my table saw and router table, and the length and the width needs to be similar to my table saw and router table. At the moment, my table saw and router table is doubling as a workbench, and it's a pain in the backside. With that in mind, I need this bench to be strong. I've said that. I also want to make it beautiful. I'm using some wonderful timbers, and I'll be building other projects with wonderful timbers, and I want to respect that. I'm going to be building the workbench out of two things, predominantly Tasmanian oak, which is a timber that is used in building furniture anyway, so it's well suited to this job. And it's not actually an oak, it's an Australian native hardwood. It's actually a collection of eucalyptus species, found in Tasmania and Victoria and the cooler areas of New South Wales and Queensland. The other timber I'm going to be using is a hardwood called Jarrah. That's a better sign of the side of it. Jarrah is a very dense, hard-wearing timber that's found in Western Australia. Again, it's a eucalyptus species, and it's been used to build bridges. It's also been used to build boats, and there are most likely bridges made out of this stuff that have been around for the last 100 years and still cope with having big heavy B-doubles and road trains driving along them. So they're the two species of timber I'm going to use. The way I'm going to build it is in two parts really. I'm going to build a frame, and then I'm going to build a bench top to rest on that frame. The frame and the bench top will be made predominantly of Tasmanian oak. The Jarrah will be used for the vices I'll install, and also a skirt around the bench top. The legs are going to be 100mm square roughly, as for bananas in the old talk, and I'll hold those legs together with rails and stiles of 100mm by 50mm, and I will be joining all of that timber with a floating mortise and tenon system. So what I have to do now, because my timber has come rough sawn and in 5 or 6 metre lengths, is I have to cut those down to more manageable lengths. I then have to face and edge them on my jointer, and then finish dressing them so they're the correct dimension on my thicknesser or my planer. Shouldn't really be called a thicknesser. It really doesn't thickness anything, it thins things. Maybe it should be called a thinnesser. So let's start cutting up some timber. Okay, I've docked all my Tassie oak to length, There's, well, I don't know, it seems like 5 kilometres of it. I've left my jarrah at the full length, and what I will do is I will rip them down to the correct width, and then I'll figure out what lengths I need closer to when the time comes. So the next job, after docking all the Tassie oak to length, is to then rip it to width, and in this case I'll be using my table saw. I'll probably set it to about 105 millimeters or thereabouts thickness, so a little bit over 4¼ inches, or yeah, 4¼ bananas. So yeah, that's my next job. Now, I'm no forensic scientist, but that, to me, looks a little bit more than just weathering from it being out when it was seasoned. This, to me, looks like fire damage. Back in 2019, early 2020, there were some horrendous fires that ripped through Australia. In places it got burnt to Australia got burnt to the waterline. And I'm thinking this is some evidence of this fire. I could be wrong. As I said, I'm not a forensic scientist, but it looks as if it's fire damage. Well, let's hope I am a better woodworker than I am of recording YouTube videos. This has been hard. What I've done this video is I've docked my timber to manageable lengths, so they're not 5 meters long. The largest one is about 2 meters, and I've also ripped the timber to manageable widths, roughly 115 millimeters. What that will do is that will give me enough material for me to properly dress the timber so all the faces are parallel and all the edges are at 90 degrees. Once that's done, I can then start actually building the workbench. So tune in next time when I start dressing this stuff using my jointer and thicknesser. Thanks for watching, and I hope you be safe and have a good time.